with birthdays, Mark Davenport, Patty Phillips, I'm going to do a little of in the news, and this is not to scare anyone. This is more of a really bad stretch of things that have happened, and not because of the bus driver's fault. I was just shocked at how many things happened, and so appreciative of you guys that we're not having this happen here. But again, it's not always the bus driver's fault. But between January 26th and February 20th, there were 14 school bus incidents, and that is in 18 school days. I was just shocked, just to give you some idea of, we talked last month about the 9-year-old in Florida that crawled under the bus. North Carolina bus driver charged in a deadly crash. A school bus driver involved in a deadly crash while driving a school bus, facing charges. The 27-year-old driver was driving a school bus with one employee, no students on board, when he pulled out in front of a van at an intersection. Child struck and killed by school bus in New Square, January 30th. 8-year-old boy was struck and killed by a school bus. Nevada, January 31st, school bus driver arrested and charged with suspicion of driving under the influence after an accident involving a school bus. He's also charged with reckless driving. No students were on board at the time of the crash. He was a special needs driver and had been driving since 2007. February 1st, 8-year-old girl fatally struck by a vehicle while boarding her bus. The girl was struck by a Ford Fusion driven by a 25-year-old. The bus had their lights on, but the car just did not stop. Illinois school bus collided to a pickup truck, February 5th. 6 people were taken to the hospital with minor injuries. The school bus came to a stop after hitting an Arby's, and that's how hard they were hit. They were knocked off the road. February 8th, 4 students were injured after the school bus they were riding in rolled over. 19 middle school students were on the bus at the time of the accident. The 30-year-old bus driver was not injured. Police said the driver could face a traffic citation for that. February 9th, pickup truck crashed into a school bus after allegedly running a red light at an intersection. The crash caused the bus to hit another vehicle before hitting the side of a church with an apartment upstairs. No students were on the bus, and no one was injured. However, the person in the apartment was trapped in their apartment for a little while. February 13th, students aboard a school bus in New Jersey suffered minor injuries after a school bus and utility truck crashed at an intersection. Let's see, school bus driver, another one on February 13th. Indiana bus driver and 3 students were injured after a school bus driver drove off the side of the road and struck a tree. February 15th, in Virginia, school bus was sent careening into a home after it hit another school bus. 2 school buses crashed in it was at an intersection. One driver was issued a citation for running a red light. February 15th, Lafayette, Indiana, a 20-year-old man was killed in an accident with a school bus. The victim was approaching a school bus at an intersection when a northbound bus driver began to turn westbound to clear the intersection, so basically he made a left in front of the other driver. February 16th, a 5-year-old girl was struck and killed by her bus. She had just gotten off the bus near her home when someone, again, ran through the red lights. And February 20th, in Greenville County, a school bus and a car crashed head-on. No students were on the bus at the time, but the driver did not survive. And, again, I bring this up because when I saw it, I was like, it just kept coming and coming and coming, and it was just like, what is going on? And I don't know. Thoughts? What's going on? Any ideas?
Well, you said one was had driven for a long time, did maybe just inexperience or?
I do, I have to wonder if it's, we went through a really hard time, even here, getting drivers and getting them up to speed, and if it's just inexperience.
Or rushing, rushing kids.
Right.
There's a lot of that.
Which is one thing, hopefully we make it abundantly clear here, but if we have not, our schedule is not the most important thing. It's the safety of the student, so, yes, turning left in front of someone, you gotta wonder if they were rushing, right? And again, there were a lot of things going on that the drivers could not control, absolutely could not control.
Well, I've noticed this for quite some time. People are really in a hurry, and when it comes to stoplights, I always wait and make sure that they're really stopping, because people are going through yellow, red lights, like at 50, 60 miles an hour to go through, not.
I absolutely agree with you there, because even in my own personal vehicle, I look before I go, because it does seem like it happens a lot. And if you're approaching an intersection and it turns, and somebody's waiting to turn left, believe me, I'm hitting the brakes, because I don't trust that that person will not go, even though I'm coming, So just something I thought I'd bring up, and again, just go over it and give you guys kudos, because you guys are doing a great job, and we really do appreciate it. And just a thank you, there's so many of you who keep, coming in and giving us that encouragement of, we're doing great. It is a lot to keep track of, as far as what to cover and, what schools are in session, what schools are not in session. Last minute calls from parents, so, appreciate you guys coming in and also the treats that you bring us. We do appreciate it. Keeps us going. All right, important dates. This never happens. Never, ever happens. All of the schools have their break March 25th through 29th. It's probably not that exciting to you guys, but it is for staff.
Finally.
Woo! We can all go on vacation. No one has to hang back. April important dates is out. And then a reminder, Geneva schools are in attendance Friday, April 7th, Good Friday. So, drivers and monitors did receive 3 days of pay. You guys remember over the Thanksgiving week, Wednesday was for Memorial Day. Thursday was for Thanksgiving, and Friday was for Good Friday. And then we have the blackout dates calendar, just a reminder, it's constantly being updated, so pay attention to that. And we've already started the blackout dates for 24, 25. Yeah, I hope it is helpful, because it's, again, there's just so many dates or so many requests that we can cover, so plan ahead, you guys, please. I know this is small, but it's basically going over what's happening, already, 24, 25 startup, and we can print this out if you guys want a copy of it, or feel free to take a picture of it. Monday, August 12th. This is route review from 7 to 3. Tuesday, August 13th, we have our first 2-hour refresher, which is typically, the drivers with less seniority come in on that, Tuesday from 8 to 10. And then also on that day, once the 2 hours over, we go back to route review from 10 to 3. And for those of you who are new, route review is basically you just come in, at least get an idea of what is on the table, what routes we have to cover. Wednesday, August 14th, that's our in-service from 7:30 to 11. That's when everyone comes back, even monitors, we'll have breakfast, and then we'll do our welcome back and go over anything that matter I feel like we need to go over at the beginning of the year. The nurses will be in again to do a presentation. And then we'll do our second 2-hour refresher. So those of you with more seniority will stay from 11 to 1 for your 2-hour. And then Thursday, August 15th, route bids start at 7 a.m. They go until 3:20. And Friday, August 16th, route bid goes from 7 to 11:50. Monday, August 19th is our practice run. AM routes are to be driven for practice. And then Thursday, August 22nd is the first day of school in Geneva. Any questions on any of that? Alright. Reminder, when you park at the middle school, those slots are big enough for those buses to pull in and then be able to pull out without backing up. That only works though if you pull up to the line, and everyone has to pull up to their line, right? You can't pull past your line, because then, the person in front of you doesn't have enough space. So, I know some people, we've had a few, incidents happen over the past couple of weeks, because the buses are too close. And so if everyone just parks the way it's supposed to, don't try to help the person in front of you, behind you, because you're not helping them, if you're not pulling up to the line. Any questions on that? Because then you can turn the wheel and get out. There's no backing, especially at a school. And then, while we're on the subject of backing, that was our one accident this month. We had a driver back up on a field trip without a spotter. I just don't know how many times Matt and I can say it. You don't back up a bus. Number one, at a school, I think they were in the neighborhood.
Yeah, it was in the neighborhood.
But without a spotter, I do not understand, like, there's a coach there. There's other adults around. There is no reason to be backing up a bus without a spotter. Any questions on that? Any thoughts? Alright, we had a couple of drivers ask if they could come in and wash their bus on Friday, as they were not driving. So I'm gonna, just throw it out there and also make it clear what was going on. Those drivers came in on their own time. They were not paid to come in and wash their bus. They wanted to come in and wash their bus. So they came in and got permission to do that. And the reason you have to come in and get permission to do that, because, the sprayer out there is not like your one at home, the power washer. You know, where you just kind of power wash your front porch off. It has a lot more kickback. And so we wanna go over it with you, show you how it works, and then also make sure that you understand how much kickback there is from that thing. So if you want to do that, come and talk to either Matt or myself. Any questions on that? You know how the rumors start here, that we have people in paying them to wash buses and. Field trip reminders. You need to stay with the team, the students, whoever you're transporting, you can leave to get something to eat. We've never told you you can't go eat. But you need to stay close and you need to return when you're done. Also, you need to keep track of those miles because the district's not paying you to drive those miles, right? So if you choose to leave on your own and go get something to eat, you need to deduct those miles. If you give permission to come back to the garage, it's the same thing. You come back, you do what you need to do, you go back to be with your team, you deduct those miles. That's something you're choosing to do. There's a whole lot of this going on where drivers are just leaving and then they'll just go sit somewhere like, I don't know, McDonald's or whatever and not come back. And then the coach is looking for them and you're getting paid to stay with the team. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? No? Okay. Did I miss anything? Alright. That's all I have. Questions on anything at all? Anyone over? Yes.
Any changes on the CDC requirements for COVID? That the national says you don't have to have 5 days of.
Correct. You just, it's like a cold now or the flu. If you do not have a fever and, even that, that's up to you. I prefer that you don't come in, honestly, if you have a fever. And whether it's COVID, whether it's the flu, a sinus infection, if you have a fever, you're just spreading it to other people. But, once your fever breaks and you're starting to feel better, then you absolutely can come back. There are no days that you have to wait. Any other questions? I heard from Jeannie on Saturday. I didn't send it out because typically she emails me or texts me what's going on. John is still doing well as far as I know from Saturday. I assumed because she didn't, if I reached out to her and it didn't come from her, maybe she needed a little bit of a break. Do you know what I mean? And maybe not, maybe she's just busy. But that's why I haven't sent out an update. But on Saturday, he was doing well. He was off the respirator, breathing on his own.
Great.
Yeah. Oh, I know what I didn't go over, Matt. We have your letters of assurance that need to be signed for next year. So did you pass those up?
Yep.
You're in, you're in. All right. Let's make sure. Didn't miss anything else. Oh, summer calendars, you pass those on as well? Okay.
I didn't know if you wanted me to go.
Yeah, that's fine. And we're still working on private placement calendars. Got most of the private placement as well. Woo-hoo. We're doing good. All right. That's all I have.
How are we doing on bus drivers?
We have one ready to take the test, and we're just kind of going back and forth with FMCSA right now, because we have his training in there, but it keeps telling us it's not in there. So we can't test until it goes through. And then we have one in training, he should be done pretty soon, right, Dave?
Hopefully.
We have one that had to give a 2-week notice who's ready to go. So hopefully, maybe just before spring break, we might get that one to start. And then we have another one that has everything that, I and has to give a 2-week notice and they'll be ready to go. I mean, we'll still have them train a little bit with Dave, we have a little more time. We don't have them just jump behind the wheel and go. So, it's encouraging, right? Now we just need monitors.
Yeah.
Three, 2 or 3.
Probably 2 at the least.
I don't know, 2.
What about mechanic? Crossing guards.
Still.
We can't get a mechanic. We went up the peg, and we can't get a mechanic. So if you guys know anyone, let us know. Or if you knew someone and they said, not for that pay, come talk to us, or have them talk to us.
What is the pay?
We're up to $30 an hour now.
Oh, for the monitors?
No, for the
no, no, no.
mechanics.
No, I'm asking, what is it for the monitors? Mary, I'm asking.
17.25.
Yeah. Any other questions? No? All right.
Alright, before we go into speed management, the handouts that you were given, Mary already told you the one is your letter of insurance, just letting us know if you're coming back or not. The other one is next to your school calendar already, with the blackout dates that we are aware of. Those blackout dates are either due to, at this point, holidays, early dismissals, stuff like that. As we haven't gotten any requests for next year yet. If you do have requests for next year, I understand you're trying to get them in so that you don't forget about them, but just know you're probably not going to get anything on them until closer to the end of the year. We don't begin processing those because then we forget about them. And the last one is, it's double-sided, but it is for summer school routes. There's one side that's for if you're interested in doing a summer school route. And that's for the people that your routes, when you bid, did not say that you were required to do summer school. And then we have the calendars for the summer school on there. I believe we have everybody except maybe one. At the moment, we do not know what students are going, but what I've been told is that it is expected that the private placement students, all of them will be going as the general special needs group for Geneva, that they're not sure who's going to attend or not. Any questions on any of those? Alright. So we're gonna do speed management today, and like Mary was talking about, there's been a lot of accidents in the news lately. And this isn't because you guys we're getting reports of you guys speeding everywhere, it's just to keep everybody in the know, because a lot of those accidents that were in the news could have been prevented. So, what we'll be going over is the 3 factors that affect your stopping distance, ways to recognize and manage your vehicle's speed through curves and on grades, describe why you should adjust your speed when you encounter poor road conditions, inclement weather, and heavy traffic, and why maintaining a safe speed is important as a driver. First is your stopping distance. So in order to manage speed, you need to understand the 3 factors involved in stopping a vehicle. That is your perception distance, reaction distance, and braking distance. You should always be able to stop within your field of vision. In other words, you should be able to stop within the distance you can see ahead. Perception distance is the distance a vehicle travels from the time you see a hazard until your brain recognizes it. The perception time for an alert driver is 1 3/4 of a second. That is a very quick reaction time, and you don't have a lot of time. It takes that long for your brain to respond. At 55 miles an hour, a commercial vehicle travels roughly 145 feet in that amount of time. Your reaction distance is the distance the vehicle travels from the time your brain tells your foot to move from the accelerator until your foot hits the brake pedal. The average driver has a reaction of 3/4 of a second, and at 55 miles an hour, that's an additional 60 feet traveled. And your braking distance is the distance it takes a vehicle to stop once the brakes have been applied. Braking distance is affected by the weight, length, and speed of the vehicle, as well as road conditions. Now, generally, the heavier your vehicle is, the more work it takes for the brakes to stop. I'm sure you guys have all seen that when you're fully loaded, it takes more time to stop that bus than it does when you're empty. And while it does take more time, the brakes are actually designed to do their optimal stopping while you have that weight in there. They are designed, it evens the wear out on those. The longer your vehicle, the more space it needs to stop. For example, a 40-foot truck traveling at 40 miles an hour needs 4 seconds of space. A 60-foot truck, the same speed, needs at least 6 seconds of space. This means you gotta keep an eye on how far you're traveling behind the vehicle in front of you, because you gotta have that enough distance that you have enough time to react if they all of a sudden slam on their brakes. And last is your speed. The faster you drive, the greater your braking distance. When traveling at 60 miles an hour, the braking distance is 9 times greater than when traveling at 20 miles an hour. If your vehicle has air brakes, as your guys's do, there could be another half-second delay before your brakes engage. In that time, your vehicle travels about another 30 feet or so. That delay is often referred to as brake lag. Has anybody noticed that before? That there's a little bit of a delay when you hit the brakes? So when you add together your perception, your reaction, and your braking distance, a loaded bus traveling at 55 miles an hour in ideal conditions could travel a total of distance of 450 feet and take about 7 seconds to stop. When traveling at higher speed, that stopping distance is even greater. How the road is designed will also play a part in how you manage your vehicle speed. When on a curve or a grade, you will need to take factors into consideration that you may not have to address when operating your car or truck. Like if you're going down the hill in Geneva on Main Street, or on 38, going down, you're hitting the gas, it's gonna go faster than what you're putting the pedal to because it's a pretty steep hill. Same with going up. If you guys have noticed, a lot of the times you start to roll back a little bit before that thing gets enough power if you don't hit the gas hard enough. The posted speed limits on curves are designed with cars in mind. Driving a bus through a curve too fast or at and above the posted speed limit can cause several problems, including skidding off the road and rolling the vehicle over. Now, I'm sure everybody's seen the speed limits on a curve and probably gone faster than what the speed limit says in your car. I can tell you with the height of a bus, that becomes a lot more, you have a lot more topple that you have. You're taller than you are wide, which makes the ability to roll easier when you're on a curve like that. Slow to a safe speed before entering a curve, at least 5 miles an hour below the posted speed limit, and slow down as needed, but keep in mind that braking in a curve can be dangerous. It is easier to lock your vehicle's wheels and cause a skid. And never exceed the posted speed limit in a curve. And also to help maintain vehicle control, be in a gear that will let you accelerate slightly as you go through. Gravity and vehicle weight play a part in speed management when driving on upgrades and downgrades. On an upgrade, your vehicle has to work harder to fight the pull of the gravity and maintain its speed. And to maintain speed, you must place more pressure on the accelerator. I'm sure you guys have all experienced that going up and down hills. Same with on a downgrade, your vehicle is working with gravity, resulting in an increase of speed. The vehicle weight also has an impact with speeds on a downgrade, and the heavier you are, the truck wants to accelerate faster than lighter ones. The condition of the road will play part in determining a safe speed to travel. If you encounter any of the following, you should slow down and use extra caution. Such as drop-offs. There are times when you will encounter a pavement dropping off sharply at the edge of the road. Driving too near the edge of the road can tilt your vehicle toward the side of the road. This can make it difficult to steer your vehicle should you cross the drop-off when going off the road or trying to return to the road. Foreign objects, things that have fallen onto the road can be a danger to you and other motorists, and they can be a danger to your tires, wheel rims, and can get caught between duals. Foreign objects in the road can also cause damage to electrical and brake lines. Though an object may appear to be harmless, you cannot be certain. If there's a box or a bag that appears to be empty, it may contain something that could cause damage to your vehicle. Now, I don't know about all of you, and I can't say I've done it, but I've heard many stories from people, where as kids, they like to go out and take bags and throw them in the road with a brick in it. I've heard people tell the stories. Most of them boys playing around, seeing what'll happen when the car hits the brick. But it just goes to show that you can't trust what's in, if it's just a paper bag laying on the ground, or a plastic bag, or whatever. And sometimes you see the unusual, as Julie discovered, a toilet. Was it a toilet or a sink? Julie, I can't remember.
It was a sink.
It was a sink. There was a sink in the road. So you always gotta be aware. And unfortunately, it was dark out at that point. Julie didn't have enough time to react and collided with it. No damage to the bus, but road construction has its own set of hazards. Narrower lanes, sharp turns, and uneven surfaces are all hazards experienced in a work zone. You always gotta make sure you're watching for construction workers and pay attention to other drivers who may be distracted. And reduced speed limits are also posted in work zones, and make sure you travel at or below the posted speed limit. Such as many states, including ours, have enhanced penalties for exceeding the speed limit in a work zone. I believe in Illinois, the fine is double if you're in a work zone. And for anybody that has a field trip going to Naperville, just a heads up, there is a ton of construction in Naperville right now. We were just in downtown Naperville over the weekend, and they have most of Washington down to one lane each way. And it's very tight one-ways.
Ooh. That's just downtown.
It's downtown, yeah, but it's all the way, all through downtown, all the way across the river. It's all down to one lane each way, a very tight lane. Weather conditions. I know it seems to be at a odd time to go over weather conditions, as we're most of the way through winter. But as like last year, we were still getting snow at this point in the year. And you never know what may occur. Cross our fingers that the warm weather sticks and doesn't go away. But traction and visibility are two factors that are affected by extreme weather conditions. Traction is necessary for vehicle control, and the less friction between a vehicle's tires and the road, the less traction. Certain road conditions reduce traction, and lower speeds are necessary. When driving in poor weather conditions such as rain, fog like we had this morning, or snow, or when driving at night, you will need to slow down so you can stop your vehicle within your field of vision. Rain can affect a vehicle's traction. As rain begins to fall, it mixes with the oil on the road and causes them to rise to the road surface. Until enough rainfall breaks down and washes them away, there will be a layer of slippery oil between the vehicle's tires and the road. This condition can last anywhere from a few minutes to a few hours. New pavement is more slippery when wet than old pavement, and new pavement has a greater concentration of oil that have yet to be washed away by years of rain. White foam on the road is an indication of oil and water mixing, and a clue that the road surface is slippery. Heavy rain can cause a vehicle to hydroplane or cause a vehicle's tires to lose traction and skim along the water surface. When a vehicle hydroplanes, its tires are not in contact with the road and traction is lost, resulting in a loss of vehicle control. If recent rainfall has been heavy, approach standing water with caution. When it rains, vehicle speeds should be reduced by at least 1/3. Fog is the most common visibility challenge you'll face when driving, especially this time of the year when it's still 20-30 degrees at night and coming up into the 60s, 70s during the day. Fog limits your ability to see far enough ahead and to judge distances. It also limits the ability of other drivers to see you. Fog is often unexpected and visibility can deteriorate quickly. If you come upon fog, reduce your vehicle speed and use low beam headlights and drive within the range of your headlights, and never assume the fog will clear once you have entered it. Snow causes reduced traction and limited visibility. Light powdery snow can cover the road and form a slick, smooth surface. A heavier slushy snow can affect vehicle control. If the snow becomes hard and packed, it can form an icy surface. Vehicle speed should be reduced by at least 1/2 in snowy conditions. Remember, when determining vehicle speed in snowy conditions, you must be confident that you can safely stop and maneuver based on the road conditions. Ice-covered roads can be even more dangerous than snow-covered roads. When temperatures are near freezing, you have to be alert to potential for black ice. Black ice forms when temperatures drop rapidly and moisture on the road freezes into a smooth, nearly invisible, slippery surface. In black ice conditions, the road appears to be wet when actually it is icy. To check for ice formation, feel the front of the vehicle's mirrors or antenna, and if ice is forming there, it is also forming on the road. Also watch the spray off of another vehicle. If the spray stops, ice may be forming. At the very least, you should slow your vehicle by 1/2 in icy conditions. As with snowy conditions, when determining vehicle speed, you must be confident that you can safely stop and maneuver based on road conditions. If conditions seem too hazardous, get off the road and find a safe place to stop until weather improves. When the temperature drops, bridges can freeze before the road does, and if slippery conditions are likely, avoid any change in driving habits while crossing a bridge and maintain a smooth and steady pace. I'm sure you guys have all heard over the radio that during our winter when it got so icy that Sue-Ann couldn't make it up the hill at Peck and Kesslinger because it was stop and go traffic and they couldn't keep moving long enough to get up the hill with speed. Any questions so far? At night, hazards aren't as easy to see, and you may not recognize them as quickly as you would during the day. Because of this, you should reduce vehicle speed and increase the following distance and drive within the range of your headlights. Overdriving your headlights can adversely affect visibility as well as your ability to stop for hazards. When rounding a curve, headlights shine straight ahead off the road, reducing vision. Reducing vehicle speed is the best way to deal with the curve at night. Heavy traffic. Now, I know everybody doesn't end up in heavy traffic, but at some point with a field trip or with, you know, the parade that goes on in Geneva, you end up in heavy traffic at some point. When driving in heavy traffic, the safest speed is generally the speed of other vehicles on the roadway, provided you can maintain an adequate following distance and you are not violating the posted speed limit. If you are unable to maintain a safe following distance, slow your vehicle 3 to 4 miles per hour less than the flow of traffic. Often drivers believe that exceeding the speed limit can save time. When operating in traffic, this isn't always the case. If you are traveling faster than the speed of other traffic, you will have to pass other vehicles, and this increases your chances of being involved in an accident. This type of driving can also add to your level of fatigue, which can also increase your chances of being involved in an accident. It's best to go with the flow of traffic when safe and legal to do so. So if you're following traffic and they're doing 80 miles an hour, and you tell them, "Oh, Matt said I was allowed to follow traffic." No. Go with the flow of traffic as long as it is legal to do so. Speed limits are based in part on the principles of good speed management, and they take into account several issues, including sight distance limitation, road conditions, and traffic volume. There are many reasons why you should not speed, including accidents, penalties, maintenance costs, and fuel economy. As Mary brought up, accidents are the number one and are more likely to occur at higher speeds. There's less reaction time, and you aren't able to have as much control over your vehicle. Two or more convictions for excessive speeding in either a commercial or non-commercial vehicle can disqualify you from operating a CDL vehicle. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Standard states that you can be disqualified for a period of 60 to 120 days for excessive speeding violations. All speeding convictions, whether they prompt disqualification or not, become a part of your permanent driving record, and your driving record must be reviewed each time you begin work. That's like at the beginning of the year, we have you guys sign the letters that say they pull your record every year. Also, speeding convictions can be costly, as they incur fines. Speeding convictions may be tracked by your insurance carrier and prompting higher premiums. Higher speeds also affect the maintenance costs of the vehicles. Tires and brakes wear out faster at higher speeds. As speed increases, so does overall wear. I know you guys aren't driving a truck, so that doesn't apply as much, but we're down to one mechanic, and it adds up very quickly when he's got all kinds of brakes and stuff to do. I know right now we've got a long list of things that need to get fixed, so we are trying to fix them as they are. We're trying to use our best judgment on priority, let's put it that way. So if yours isn't getting addressed, I apologize, but we are working on it. Fuel economy. Your speed has a direct and substantial effect on your fuel economy, and by adjusting your speed down, even a couple of miles per hour, you positively affect your fuel mileage and save thousands of dollars over the course of a year. using cruise control can also affect that, your fuel economy. And it is safe to use in good driving conditions, such as during daylight hours and not in adverse weather conditions or heavy traffic. I'm gonna skip through the cruise controls, cause generally we advise you guys not to use your cruise control. That's generally for the mechanics to use for when they're kicking your buses up. If you're on the highway, it's something you could use, but going through town, you guys are so stop and go, you don't really use cruise control. Any questions? Any questions on anything at all? No, no. We got 10 more minutes, Scott. We'll find something to talk about. Field trips, spring field trips it's beginning to pick up. Please make sure you guys haven't done field trips yet this year. This is the time that we're going to start calling out and asking for help. I've already done it, I had to do it once. We had, 11 trips left over after third round. Just please, if you can do it, if you can help out, if it's within your times, let us know. No, we can't always call the sun. They're limited on hours just like everybody else.
You don't want them to decide.
Any questions?
So you're allowed to use cruise control, like if you're at 88 coming home back or something?
Yeah, you could.
I didn't know it worked.
It does. We just generally advise not using it because most of your driving is in stop and go. If you're going down the highway, you could use the cruise control. I mean, most of the time you don't need it on the highway anyways, because they're governed down to 72 miles an hour. You can't go any more than 2 miles over the speed limit down the highway. What do you guys want to know?
Anything new on the property next door?
Yes, actually there is on the property next door. So we finally have an engineer in place. I don't know if you guys caught on Thursday, there were people out here doing surveying of the parking lot. They were out here again Friday. They are getting ready. If you guys saw, they also walked over into the lot next door. They are getting the surveying done for the lot. They're gonna resurface our entire parking lot. So at the moment, it is looking like we're going to be on track for getting this done by the end of summer. At the moment.
Is that just gonna be paved,
Yeah, it's gonna be a big paved parking lot. That'll become staff parking lot over there.
street lights up over there too, or?
Yep, street lights, everything.
Oh, but no structure.
No, the only structure that'll be there is potentially that barn that's right there. And that's for O&M to store stuff in, like their lawnmowers and whatnot, instead of taking up space in our bays. Nancy?
Can you paint a mirror station on the new pavement?
We can have them paint one. The only reason we got away from painting one was because people were struggling to pull up to them, which is why we did cones, so that you could just lay the cones out in front of it. Which does take extra time, and we could try and go back to the painted one, but that was the reason we got away from it.
Is that repaving gonna happen during summer routes?
Probably. It will be, I don't know if it'll happen right during summer routes or when the plan is, we'll have to work that out with them. But I know the plan is they're gonna be working on it, so it's gonna be an interesting, trying to get it all done while running summer routes at the same time.
You gonna have a shuttle?
No, there's not gonna be a shuttle.
But an extra couple minutes to walk in, right? So Matt,
Family.
there'll be 20 buses then parked where our cars are now, is that the deal?
Yep, that's the ideal. We're looking at moving, what we have there now is our training station, like the backing area, is moving that and putting buses, like, kinda like your parking are now, where you got one behind the other. It'll be 2 buses wide down that. Because we're getting more little buses, which means more big buses are gonna have to come out of the garages.
Man, can they double up some of those, pull that power thing out?
We would have to get O&M to come in and do all that, and that wouldn't even work for every spot. But I'm not sure if they can, or if we really wanna yank all of those out.
Well, just a couple, 1 or 2, double up.
Move the stopper up.
Oh, you could move the stopper up.
But they could just cap that power thing.
Yeah, but I'm not sure the district as a whole wants to do that when they've got it. 'Cause if we ever want to add it back or put the small buses outside, if we get to that point, then we don't have any of those.
And but the outside middle school buses don't have that now.
Well, it's true. Surely.
Are we ever gonna put a fence around it?
That's being talked about as well, is putting up a fence to, secure everything in. I don't know where we're at in that process, I just know it's being talked about. Yeah, that's a heavy cost that I'm not sure, probably the first year of having the lot over here, it probably won't be up there. But I'm sure it's something they're looking at for in the long term. We are also looking at replacing out, when is it? It's in a week or 2. We have another bid for big buses, cause our big buses are done early, they're ahead of schedule. And so we're looking at getting another 10 or 11 big buses and swapping them out. So it'll be about a total of 19 to 20 big buses that'll be swapping to propane. Do you have a question?
No.
Oh, I thought you raised your hand.
So the propane station's gotta get going.
Yep, well, that's why the parking lot's proceeding faster than probably what the O&M department is hoping for. Cause we gotta get that propane tank in. So likely what's gonna happen, cause we've heard a little bit of rumblings that not everybody's keen on driving a propane bus, is during bidding. The routes are gonna say what fuel source your bus is, whether it's a propane or a diesel. So you'll have to take that in consideration if you are not keen on driving a propane bus. The higher mile routes are probably going to end up with a propane, as those are gonna have no miles on them.
Are you gonna have any kind of training for all of us, that way we make an educated decision?
Training as in what, driving the bus?
No,
or-
just like the whole, the propane, that way we know, we don't have to be scared, or maybe we just get the training and we're like, oh, sorry.
Well, they're
Like actual overview, look at the tank,
looking at the tank, like under the bus, you mean?
yeah, just to get an idea, but it's not a big deal.
Well, I mean, we've gone over it in a couple of safety tips about how they're not as dangerous. But as far as training, the only thing that's really on the docket right now is for how to fuel them. The company that provides our propane is willing to come out and show all of the drivers how to fuel them. They could probably answer any of those questions as well as you guys are out there with the bus fueling it.
Do you have a quick recap why we're not going electric?
The reason we're not going electric is because of partly infrastructure and partly cost of a bus. Cost of a of an electric bus is about $300,000, where the propane and diesels are at about $130,000. But that's not including the cost to put in the infrastructure to charge it. And
Buses would need their own charger station, right?
yes,
It takes
each
too
bus
long.
would need their own, we need several charging stations put throughout. It's not something we're looking at the moment, just because of the cost of it. They're Bluebird, yep. International is heavily pushing electric vehicles and got rid of their propane engine and their gasoline engine. So until they come out with something like that, yeah, we're moving away from International. Any other questions? You guys are free to go.